How did you feel when they gave you this Lifetime Achievement Award?
Well, first of all, I always have said at those awards, this was their 15th, and I've spoken at a couple of them. And George Schlatter, the producer of the show, and therefore the awards, likes it when I do this. And the first time I did it was more of a surprise for everyone. I said, everyone knows these awards are essentially meaningless. They're an excuse for a TV show. They are of very little importance, and he liked that, and it would always get a good laugh because it was unexpected. But I feel it's a fair description of them. But the nice thing is, of course, is that someone honors you and says you're special, you're different, you're tonight's honoree.
Right.
And I just said to them that I think they want to give it to someone while he's still able to lift it, for one thing, because Lifetime. And I said, I hope this is a down payment, and I'll be back for a second installment of this, because I have a lot of things I hope still to live to do.
What's your greatest accomplishment so far?
Well, the way I answer that, and I'm ready for it, is the sustaining in my field and improving, actually seeing the work get better, looking at it as objectively as I can and saying, boy, I'm learning how to do this.
Right.
I'm really learning how to, and then now with the computer, moving text around, I found that when I started using a computer, that my writing changed qualitatively as well as quantitatively. I found that the ability to put the same document up with the beginning of it here, the middle of it here, and the end of it on this part of the screen, I have a big screen, enabled me to see the whole piece of work without scrolling down. How did I say that? Well, I want to reference that again. But I can say, oh, it goes like that. Oh, no, this belongs over here. Well, look, move this. Oh, and that's the ending. I didn't see it. That belongs over there. So it honestly made the work better, besides faster and all those other things.
What do you think the biggest misconception about you is?
I don't know. I'd have to be in their brains.
What you hate?
Well, I think generally people don't know your humanity when you're a celebrity. They don't know what ways you are human. They know you have stuff, and they'll hear it occasionally in an interview or something. But I think they don't understand. It's not necessary for them to understand how you are as an individual human with feelings and all that.
What do you think you have left to do that you haven't done yet?
Well, I would have liked to have a whole lifetime of just learning to act and experiencing the stage with other fine actors. That would have been very, very good. But when you dabble, you can't aspire to that.
Did you do LSD?
Yeah.
And psychedelic drugs?
Okay, it's a good question, and I have an answer that.
Do you want some? Is that why? All right.
The cocaine was the only drug I did that was highly refined by man. The pot is an herb and not really a refined drug. Cocaine, heroin, and speed are all tampered with by humans after the plant stage, and I think they add a little human evil to them. But psilocybin and the natural psychedelics, and marijuana is in the psychedelic family, it's a hallucinogen, I think they suggest their own eventual disuse. I think they are self-limiting drugs. If you don't have reasons in you to seek escape all the time or relief from some psychic pain, that's a slightly different story. If you're sort of doing them as a party drug, as an experience of a period of your life, and you don't have these other things to deal with, I think they suggest, okay, like the cocaine eventually did for me, suggest their own disuse. I think they're self-limiting because I think there's some wisdom in them. I think there are value-changing qualities to the psychedelics, and that's one of the reasons I think the government was so scared by that movement, because it genuinely makes you look at, quote unquote, the system and say, wait a minute. And you leap. If you already have a tendency to be going from here to there, they can hasten it. They can push you down your own path a little more quickly. That's the thing I noticed about them. In Milwaukee, I had been doing the so-called 7 dirty words. I never referred to them as that. That was the Los Angeles Times in a headline when the Supreme Court ruled in '78 that they were indecent. They said, court bans 7 dirty words, and that became part of the language, I guess. But in Milwaukee, much earlier than that, 1972, I was doing that as part of my act, and my album was out with that routine on it, 7 words you can never say on television. And I did it there, and the trouble there was it was an outdoor event, and there were no boundaries or borders on the audience. It bled over into the fair and the carnival in general, where there were people who hadn't chosen to see me and presumably didn't care for that sort of language. They were able to hear it because of the loudspeakers, and therefore it was an arrest for disturbing the peace. It was an arrest for that, and the lawyer, William Coffey, who, by the way, represented Father Grappi in Milwaukee during those protests, he said to me, he said, don't worry about this, we're going to wait for a judge to come up who understands the First Amendment, and apparently it was a long wait. So after several months, it was just thrown out. But what was fun about it was I was on stage, and I had a lot of cocaine in my pockets, and they were the police were assembling backstage. The other band, Siegel Schwall, had finished, and I was doing my act, and my wife, Brenda, came out ostensibly to bring me some more water, and she said to me, the police are back there. Don't go off to the right. They're all waiting on the right. Go off to the left. So I went off to the left, and I unloaded all the cocaine on the band. And they were very happy because they weren't being included at all. They just disappeared with it, and I was then. So they didn't get this little bonus they were looking for. I'm sure they would have liked that little bonus. They got me for, and it's wonderful to see these 5 or 6 policemen leading me away for a verbal offense. You know, it's as if I had a machine gun or something. It's very Christ-like. It's odd, the oddest looking picture. I have sandals on and this beard, and it just looks that way. I thought, boy, this is really interesting stuff. But it was kind of fun. Thank you all for your interest.
Thank you
very much. Thank you.
We have to go backwards.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. 92nd Street Y Online Media is made possible by the generous support of listeners like you. For more audio and video programs and information about our wide array of upcoming events, please visit 92y.org. This program is copyright 2008 by the 92nd Street Y.